That afternoon I got a phone call and they told me the pain is excruciating. It's like no other pain I've ever felt in my life. It can cause your baby to be big, and not in a good way. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do a 30-week pregnancy update. I haven't really spoken much about my pregnancy on my channel, but I'm in the home stretch now, so I thought I would do a video for you guys. So as I said, I'm 30 weeks pregnant. I can't believe how quickly time has gone. I thought I had forever and a day before baby was going to be here, but I've felt like I have blinked my eyes and we are here. So yeah. This is my second pregnancy. My son is 20 months old. He's nearly 2. When I was pregnant with him, I was very skinny when I fell pregnant, and I ate so much food. Obviously my body just needed it. I was always hungry, and I was just tired all the time. Whereas pretty similar to this pregnancy, in the beginning I had a subchloronic hemorrhage, which I was having like bleeding episodes, and what that meant was there was sort of like a hemorrhage either on the wall of my uterus or my placenta had separated, but by about 20 weeks I didn't have that anymore. So far my pregnancy's been pretty good. Again, I'm just really tired. That's just something that comes with it. Obviously the further along I get, the more pregnant I feel. Duh. But so along with feeling pregnant becomes symptoms of being pregnant. One thing is, from start to finish, I'm always hot. It always feels like it's 100 degrees, so I have to have the aircon on and the fan on, and even if everyone else is cold, I'm wearing like a singlet and shorts and I just can't get cool. Another thing I found with this pregnancy is my lips are super dry and my skin is super dry. So I don't know if that's a hormone change or I'm just not staying as hydrated as I need to be. I didn't really have that problem in my first pregnancy, but it's something I'm suffering with now. Even though I've been suffering with the dry skin lately, I have started to get a lot of pimples around my nose and sort of down my mouth. You can't see it as much today because I have makeup on, obviously, but I'm not someone who ever got pimples, so I'm assuming it's hormonal, which is totally understandable. Lately I've actually lost my appetite, so I'm having to force myself to eat, and I'm not really sure why that is. I'm not always looking for food, I'm not always snacking. I feel like I've been missing my breakfast and then sort of eating later in the day and sort of having to remind myself to eat. So that's something different for me. I don't know if it's because I'm carrying the extra weight and my body's living off the reserves and it's just going, yeah, you don't need to actually give me any more, or if I'm getting enough nutrition in the meals that I am eating later in the day. But that's definitely something different for me. Another thing I found throughout my pregnancy, and especially of late, is that my gums bleed so easily. They're always irritated. They're not sore, but every time I brush my teeth, there's so much bleeding, but that is quite common in pregnancy. It has nothing to do with the fact that I have braces on. It's just the way it is. It's to do with your hormone changes, and I think the hormone that is released in your body when you're pregnant, don't quote me on it, is relaxitocin. I'm probably way off, but what that does is allows like your ligaments to soften and for everything to sort of move around to allow baby to have room. So the same thing sort of happens in your mouth, and that's why you end up bleeding, because your teeth are moving around. And some people even lose their teeth in pregnancy, but I drink a shit ton of milk, so that sort of, fingers crossed, we won't be losing any teeth out. During my pregnancies, another thing I suffer with, so both pregnancies, is heartburn and acid reflux. Hence the reason why I drink so much milk. I try not to take any medications while I'm pregnant, so milk seems to be my savior. A lot of women do suffer with it. I never ever had any form of heartburn, never knew what heartburn was until I fell pregnant with Andre. And then obviously once I had him, I didn't get it very often, but I did get it. And then about 12 weeks into this pregnancy, I could feel the heartburn starting, and now it's just an everyday occurrence and it's just no fun. That is one thing I really don't enjoy about being pregnant. Pregnancy also comes with things like your nails growing really quickly and strong, your hair growing thicker, your hair growing quicker. I found I've actually lost a lot of my eyelashes, so I don't know what that's got to do with. That's something different for me. Understandably, I'm also getting the itchy belly because everything's stretching. I am using bio oil and Palmer's stretch mark cream, but still your skin is stretching. So as much as I'm trying to keep it hydrated and nourished, I still get that itchiness, but that's cool. That's something that comes with being pregnant. So one thing I'm starting to experience, which I felt like I never really had with Dre, is the round ligament pain. So right at the bottom of my belly on each side, I get the sharpest pain you could ever imagine, and it is so painful that I actually sit there like laughing to myself, which makes it worse. But if I don't laugh, I'll cry. It is like someone's got a knife in there and they're like, oh, it's awful. With my first pregnancy, I never got Braxton Hicks contractions either. I'm finding I'm getting a lot of them at the moment, which is like tightening of the belly. They're not overly painful, but you can definitely feel the tightening. And as time goes on and there's less room, it's more obvious. A lot of people get them even early in the pregnancy, but they don't notice because you can't really feel it. It's just tightening, and unless you're aware and you're looking for that, you won't actually see it. So another thing I really suffer with is sciatic nerve pain, which if you don't know what that is, it's a nerve that sort of runs down like your butt cheek and down the back of your leg. So I get it on my left leg. I don't know if you can get it on your right leg. I'm sure you can, but I've always had it both pregnancies in my left. The pain is excruciating. It's like no other pain I've ever felt in my life. I feel like the last 2 weeks has sort of gotten better as my stomach's dropped, which doesn't make sense. But yeah, that is a pain that I do not miss when I'm pregnant. I tell you right now, nerve pain is definitely something else. The doctor did suggest to me to get like a pregnancy belly band to sort of hold my belly up. I was gonna do it, and then all of a sudden it started to not be as painful. But when it does come, you'll know about it. So I'm supposed to go to the midwife's clinic sort of every month. Now it's every 2 weeks once you hit 30 weeks. I sort of missed 2 appointments just due to the move and getting sick in between and things like that. So I was a bit behind on my appointments. So about a week and a half ago, I went to my midwife's appointment, and we did like a full check of baby, and we did a growth scan and everything like that. The baby actually measured 2 weeks bigger than what it's supposed to be, but that's okay. The baby measured at 39 centimeters and 1.4 kilos. She said to me that, you know, they can have growth spurts and slow down, or I could just be having a bigger baby, which didn't concern me too much. I thought that's great. To me, having a big baby wasn't a big deal. It was better than having the baby too small. Well, that's what I thought in my head. We did like a growth ultrasound about 4 days later, and then the measurements were down to like a week and a half ahead. So growth has slowed down a little bit. So that's sort of what she said could happen. So she was happy with baby and had everything. Look, she did remind me, look, we haven't done your glucose test. We should probably get onto that. I thought, yep, no problem. We'll just do that, get it over and done with. So last week I went and did my glucose test. Sat there for the 3 hours, was extremely bored because my phone didn't have any reception. So sitting there for 3 hours, not being able to walk around, not be able to do anything, I was not impressed. But I was like, we just get it over and done with. Didn't think much of it. Thought, yep, I'm going to be in the clear. That afternoon I got a phone call and they told me that I did not pass my glucose test. So I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, which was a major shock to my system. I definitely didn't expect it. I'm definitely not educated on that topic, but you know, so I got the phone call, I took it in, I was sort of in shock. The midwife said to me, look, you didn't pass it, and that means you need to come in next week to talk to a dietitian and a doctor and to do like an education class and all this sort of stuff, and then left me at that. And I was sort of just like, what does that mean for me now? What does that mean for the baby? And then obviously instinctually I just got on Google and started like Googling everything and freaked myself out because nothing's ever nice on Google, is it? So I spent that night quite upset, feeling guilty, like had I done something? Did I do something wrong? Did I eat badly? Should I have exercised more? Is it my fault because I've got the weight on me? As I said, it's not something I expected. But over the last few days I've spoken to different people who have had it, and I've looked into it more, and fingers crossed it's manageable. It's just that I wasn't educated on this topic. I never thought it would be a problem for me. I thought I was eating generally quite well. I guess I've just been eating a lot of carbs, but I did find out that it doesn't really have to do with what you eat. It has to do with your hormones and your insulin and things like that. So even if you eat a really, really good diet, if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. So that made me feel better, but obviously that was a really big shock to me. Obviously there are worse things that can happen in a pregnancy, and I guess it is quite common, but yeah, I just wasn't expecting it. So I'm going to go in next week and I'm going to spend the whole day there. They're going to give me a diet plan. I'm going to have to end up taking my blood sugar a couple of times a day, and yeah, just not something I expected. It can cause your baby to be big, and not in a good way, just too much fat on the baby, and that concerned me. I was like, well, the baby did measure quite big, so you know, so there are chances of premature, but you know what, once I'm educated more and I know what's going on, I'll do a video on sort of what to expect and how I'm supposed to deal with it. So that'll probably come out next week or the week after, once I sort of get my head around it and sort of try to understand it a little bit more. I've always had a feeling that this baby was going to come early, but I've pretty much already got all my hospital bag packed, the baby's bag packed, everything ready to go. I just need to get the car seat and the pram out of lay-by. I'll be doing a what's in my hospital bag video shortly. Yes, it's very early to have my hospital bag packed, but I've always just had that feeling. Yes, now hearing the news of having the gestational diabetes, that is quite a high possibility. I just like to be organized. I have a 20-month-old son. I don't have time to quickly run around last minute. I just want to be organized so I can just relax and try and look after myself for the last few weeks of my pregnancy. But I have found myself in the last sort of 2 weeks doing a lot of nesting. So I have gone through all the baby's clothes. Everything is washed, everything is folded, everything's hanging in like age and size order. So I am just getting everything quite organized. That's just part of being pregnant. I think everyone goes through that nesting stage. I think I've done it a little bit earlier. I did it around 34 weeks with Andre, whereas this time it was like 28, 29 weeks. I'm like, right, we need to get shit sorted, we need to get things done. So that's what I've been doing the last few weeks. It has kept me quite busy, but once everything's organized, I think I'll be able to sleep better. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was sort of mum guilt. I don't know if it's mum guilt, but I've had a lot of anxiety and feeling really guilty about having this baby because of Andre. Obviously he's been the only child. He has been my world. He has had my undivided attention, and probably a fault of my own, he's become very dependent of me, and he's very clingy, and he doesn't really hang out with anyone else. It's just me and obviously Justin when he's home, but he does work. But I'm just really concerned about how he's going to handle me having to give so much attention to a little baby, and I'm just really hoping that he handles it well. There are signs where he sees other babies and he's really gentle and he's really intrigued, and then there's other times where he's just like not at all interested in me giving anything else attention but him. So obviously this is a natural thing. I just don't know how to prepare him for this baby. Obviously being so young, he's not really great at communicating. He doesn't really understand when I say, oh, there's going to be another baby. Like, that means nothing to him. I think it's definitely going to be a shock, not only for me, not only for Justin, but definitely for Andre. So as I said, I know it's a normal thing, it's a natural thing, people do it, but I do have a lot of anxiety about that, and a lot of guilt because, you know, he doesn't know that his whole life's about to change. So hopefully I can manage and juggle them both, and I don't want him to feel jealous or sort of replaced or anything like that. So I've got to really work out a balance. So that is one of my biggest anxieties at the moment. So yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at in my life. Yeah, I thought I'd sit down and I'd let it all out to you guys. If you guys have any advice for me on how to deal with a older sibling or bringing in a second, third, fourth, fifth baby, if you have any experience, please let me know how you prepare the older siblings for that, especially with such a short age gap. Also, if you have suffered from gestational diabetes or know someone who has, please send me a comment down below and let me know sort of any tips or advice or you know, your experience with it. I know a lot of the risks because obviously the internet tells you a lot of the risks before any of the positives, but I'm just going in blind at the moment. It was a big shock to my system. So yeah, any advice would be great. So this video has gone way longer than I thought it was going to be, so I'm going to wrap it up now. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. Also, as I said, if you have any tips or tricks, please leave me a comment down below. And if you do want to see any more of my videos, please remember to hit the subscribe button and click the little bell button next to it so you get notified every time I upload. There's definitely a lot happening in the next few weeks, but I'm really hoping to get some more videos out for you guys. So hopefully I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to watch my video. It really means a lot to me, and thank you for your support. Mwah. Bye guys.
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame.